Good morning. Since yesterday, I could see that there was a Twitter trend on heart attack. Now, sometimes it is confusing and sometimes it is not understood how it works or what is it. First of all, what is a heart attack? And let me put it in layman terms, not so technical. A heart attack means that your heart stops functioning or there's a difficulty in the functioning of the heart. If it is to do with difficulty of the functioning of the heart, there are two reasons in the most simplest way. One being an obstruction to the electrical activity of the heart, and two, that the heart is not getting adequate oxygenation. Electrical activity is something which is entirely a different subject, but more commonly and more easily known or deciphered sort of a thing at a common man's level is poor oxygenation, which has to do with occlusion or obstruction or of poor blood supply to the heart. Now, poor blood supply to the heart means poor flow of blood to the heart. This can happen when the blood vessels to the heart are either blocked, narrowed, or even if the thickness of the blood is increased. As far as the occlusion or narrowing of the blood vessels is concerned, it is considered to be because of deposition of deposits, which we call technically as plaques, along the blood vessel line, and that narrows the pathway, and therefore the amount of blood reaching the heart is decreased. Since the amount of blood reaching is decreased, the amount of oxygen received by the heart is decreased, and the stress on the heart is increased. This increased stress, when beyond the capacity of the heart, can lead to a heart attack or a heart failure. The other situation is that of thickness of the blood. Now, thickness of the blood is something which in recent times, particularly COVID and post-COVID, has come to be of concern, because it has been seen that for various reasons the thickness of blood is perhaps getting increased, which means the specific gravity or the density of the blood is increased and its movement through the vessels is slowed down. In that sense, the amount of oxygen available to the heart is reduced. Its rate of availability to the heart is reduced. The blood vessel narrowing may not be as much, yet it is reduced because of the thickness of the blood. Secondly, it has also been observed that CRP levels have increased. An increase in CRP levels can lead to inflammation of various muscular bodies within the body, which includes the blood vessels. Therefore, an inflamed blood vessel can also be occlusionary. Both these factors combined, the risk of poor blood supply or poor oxygenation to the heart is increased, and a small effort of exercise, slightly more than or not more than your usual, still can be difficult for the heart to bear. Therefore, it is important to understand how much of a physical stress or emotional stress can you take in the present day post-COVID world. Now, various things can be managed various ways. However, as far as thickness of the blood is concerned, blood thinners is the only way to go about. As far as modern medicine is concerned, aspirin is one of the commonest and oldest ways of working as with the thickness of the blood. And naturally, ginger is one of the easiest and the best ways of managing with blood thickness or fluid thickness. At the same time, when you combine with black pepper, the efficacy and permeation of ginger is increased and therefore it becomes more effective. Ginger naturally has aspirins, and that is why it acts as a blood thinner. Given this context and given the context of heart attacks, one of the many requisites to understand in the post COVID world is to manage the fluid specific gravity, that is the thickness of the blood, and other factors accounted for and medicated separately or handled separately under the guidance of a physician, to the least a qualified physician of any system of medicine. Dietarily, you can definitely manage the thickness of blood and hence reduce some chance of a cardiac arrest as far as blood supply and oxygenation to the heart is concerned. Thank you.